Black Americans have decided to come for Africans. Africans, immigrants, in fact, immigrants generally, and I'm so excited. Yes, because I keep saying it. For how long do you think you will continue to talk trash about them? You continue to be like, I'm not black. I'm not black. But whenever there is issue, you want them to identify themselves with you. A lot of people, what they have learned right now is they are not black until they have issues. They are not black until they need help from Black Americans. They are not black until they need a savior that will come and clap cheer them. That is the only time they recognize that we are of the same skin tone, our hair texture is the same, and blah, 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 blah. Enough is enough. And Black Americans have a lot of tea for you guys to digest on this night. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, honestly, very big thank you to every single one of you liking my videos, subscribing, commenting, joining my membership, and also dropping super thanks. I appreciate and I do not take you guys for granted. With that being said, let's watch, and I'll be back with commentaries.
Real quick, when you come on my account and you try to disrespect African Americans, you have to come correct. Y'all love saying that we have no culture and we don't know anything. To say that African Americans have no culture shows how little you have, and it shows how poorly you've been educated on African American culture, because it is literally our culture that is responsible for the fact that people from other places around the world can migrate to this country. It was our culture that was on display this year at the Met Gala. Where do you think black dandyism comes from? Not your culture. And you know what's funny? Do you think that anyone who doesn't like black people cares that you're not African American? Baby, you could be one of my cousins. It don't matter, girl. Y'all have all this smoke and animosity. How about this? How about you don't interact with African Americans? Y'all can just leave us alone. Like, for instance, you didn't have to interact with my video. Why do you need me to know that you don't like African Americans? Okay. What are you supposed to do with that information? And then it's a whole thing of, oh, well, this is a reason why people hate you. Y'all need to do this. How about this? How about y'all work on your own internalized hatred? What's funny is that African Americans don't think about other cultures and ponder about how much we hate y'all. We literally don't do that. But y'all run any chance you get to go and try to hate on us. And the only thing y'all can say is, y'all don't even have culture. No, you don't have a proper education. Because anyone who has a proper education on African Americans would never say that. And here's the thing. If you have culture, is this what you're displaying right now? Your people's culture? Hate? Damn.
Hey man, enough is enough. A lot of you Africans, Nigerians, and other black folks that's part of the diaspora, y'all come over to America and then disrespect us and say we have no culture, but then you benefiting from our culture. What is wrong with y'all, fam? Like, stop disrespecting us. And then y'all wonder why black folks have collectively decided that, hey, we don't have any allies, and with everything that's going on in the country, we minding our own black business. All right? We sitting down. We get disrespected by every single person. And then y'all come over here acting like the white man to us. Telling us how we can't feel and what we can't say and all those. Nah, bro, y'all out y'all goddamn mind. But then y'all get mad when people decide to, black Americans decide to be FBA, Foundational Black American. It is black Americans that fought for y'all, for y'all to even have the rights that y'all have. All right? Y'all leave y'all country, come over here, and then disrespect us. But we supposed to be kumbaya? We supposed to be the same people? We all black. Let's get along and tag along. Nah, F that, bro. All right? Stop disrespecting us. Stop saying we have no culture. Why y'all keep coming over here? Why y'all keep coming over here and then disrespecting us? But then when some stuff going down, y'all want us to hold hands and kumbaya. Let's all just get along. Nah, bro. Nah. Now we done with that, bro. That's why black folks in America have no allies. We are on our own. And I stand 10 toes down on what I'm saying. If you got a problem with it, I don't care. Stitch the video. Do whatever you want with it. I don't care. I'm tired of this. Every day y'all saying something crazy about it. I'm coming across a whole bunch of videos. Y'all just steadily disrespecting us. Nah, bro. We not.
The Pan-African movement is anti-Black American. They do not want Black Americans to have their own identity, culture, lineage, or heritage. They want us to be attached to Africa and send our resources and fund them, but they don't want to give us anything in return. They even tell us we have no culture. I can even go as far as saying that Black Americans here in America have done more and progressed more in America than the entirety of the Pan-African movement since its existence. Pan-Africa came into existence in the late 19th century. It's been well over 100 years. What do they have to show? What progress have they made? Many of the countries in Africa are still under colonization. Black Americans are still being oppressed, but we fought our way out of slavery. We are the minority and we continue to fight. They are the majority and allow people to rule over them. I would be a fool and idiotic to follow the Pan-African movement, and any other Black American would be a fool as well. Albert Einstein said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you think Pan-Africanism is the way in the movement, you are insane. I am a Black American and I'm proud to be. And I am not against Africa, but we have to split our separate ways.
Nigerians are some of the most racist people, in my opinion, towards Black Americans in this country. They call us all types of akadas and all other types of names.
Damn.
An akada is the N word, or with the hard R at the end of it.
But that's crazy.
What?
Go ahead.
It's true, though.
Finish your point,
No,
bro.
I finished the point. They call us akadas and all types of They don't appreciate us.
Think about this. Nigerians are racist towards people in Africa, too.
Yeah.
They literally think they're the best country.
Nigerians and racism in the same sentence? Who dares say such a thing? Nigeria, racism in the same sentence? That's not true. It's very unbelievable. Like, there is a lot you can say about Nigeria. There's just a whole lot that we might agree at some level. But racism is so not one of them. How did Nigeria even get into the charts of racism? Hell no. Firstly, Nigerians are literally known to be one of the most receptive people you ever come across. They are not perfect people, but they are very receptive. They are very welcoming. I mean, those are some attributes that I know and a good number of us know about Nigerians. So when I'm talking about racism and Nigeria, no, that's not true. Nobody's gonna believe that. And for the term Akata, now, many people don't even know that term anymore. I know the term because I remember back in the days when I was watching Nollywood movies, the term Akata was used often. And based on what I know and what I've done again more research about the term Akata, and it's simply a term which is used to for like a third, fourth, fifth generation Nigerian. If you think I'm lying, and by the way, the term is not even in use anymore. Like, just go to the comment section. If in case you see any Nigerian in the comment section, they will tell you that a good number of them don't even know what Akata means. As Nigerians don't even know what Akata means. Now, what is disturbing me is the fact that that other friend of the other guy was trying to bring the whole thing now back to the motherland. Yes, I saw what he did there. He said Nigerians are not only racist to the African Americans, but they are as well racist to their fellow Africans. This is where, I don't know if this is a propaganda that you guys are trying to spread all the time, or you guys are always excited seeing Africans bantering and fighting among themselves, but we have picked that up already. We know those plans, we know those things, and they don't work anymore. We will not fight among ourselves. We will not give you all that convenience to be fighting among ourselves. You all just want other Africans now to start fighting with Nigerians and blah, 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 and you guys will be clapping wheresoever you are. It is wrong. No, stop doing that. You are inciting something on the continent which doesn't even exist. We love our Nigerian brothers and sisters. Yes, we do. We do. We do. And we love you all too, African Americans. But what you keep doing over time, it's so sad. And I understand that you might have had your own experience in life. Maybe you met one or two, bad-headed Nigerians. I mean, we all have bad-headed people. Maybe you've just met these people and then they didn't give you like a good experience. And given to the fact that you both are on the same podcast, maybe you live in the same area, and because of situations, maybe you met the wrong people. But to put all Nigerians in that coin, right? Now, it's unfair. They're not even known for being racist. So this is a very new one, and it's a very false one. So please, I think you should get close to more Nigerians. You will love them. You will love them. Yeah? Much love. All love. Don't incite any hate among Africans, among black Americans and Africans. Don't do that. It's not necessary. Not today, not yesterday, not even tomorrow.
The problem, because my post is about Black Americans, which you're not a Black American, even though you want to cosplay as one, because you already said that your parents are immigrants. So unless one of your parents is a Black American, you're not a Black American. And you already said that you were Caribbean. So you saying that you're Black American is not correct, because Black American is an ethnicity, honey. And not only that, you're commenting on a post that's in response to somebody calling Black Americans white, because we are stating that if you are not in favor of Black Americans receiving reparations, then you do not deserve us to care about your issues, because you're not caring about ours. It's giving that y'all move here, y'all migrate here, and you believe that Black Americans are still the slaves of the land, and that we're supposed to continuously work for every other group while we sit back and we get nothing in return. Every fight that Black Americans have fought for in this country, unfortunately, we have not been able to reap the full benefits of each and individual thing that we fought for. Every system put in place that immigrants get when they come here, because as much as y'all like to deny that y'all don't get assistance, that's a bold-faced lie. That's a bold-faced lie. Y'all be talking about, I came here with no money in my pocket, and all of a sudden y'all own businesses, y'all own cars, y'all own homes. Please, please. Stop it. This is that xenophobic, anti-Black American rhetoric that I'm talking about. Anytime we bring up anything that's a specific issue within the Black American ethnicity community, here comes one of you talking about y'all are bigger than the program. Y'all really think that we should put our stuff aside and concentrate on you? Latinos are not in community with Black Americans. Like, let's be for real. Y'all talking about Afro-Latinos, the same ones who come over here and claim everything as our culture is theirs and say that we have no culture. I just seen a video of a Puerto Rican girl saying that it's not Black American culture in Chicago, where a ton of Black people from the South moved to Chicago. That's why there's such a high population of Black Americans. And our very culture, a whole bunch of Puerto Ricans are in their Puerto Rican parade doing Black American dances to Black American sounds, inspired sounds, and had the audacity talking about, this isn't Black American, this is Chicago culture. That's the erasure that y'all do when you come here. So absolutely not. We are not going to care about your issues anymore. The fact that we bring up our issues that are impacting our culture, and in response, you guys always bring up whatever issue that is impacting you like it's bigger than the program. It's not bigger than the program, babes. We, as the newest generations that are coming up, we are no longer putting other communities ahead of ours for the sake of just Blackness. Because when y'all come here, y'all make it super clear that y'all are a different type of Black. Y'all only want to say that y'all are united in Blackness because when it benefits you. Remember, I know Black. That's right, you're not, because Blackness has always been established in the United States of America as our ethnicity. Blackness has not been established as an ethnicity in any other part of this world. Blackness is a race, and also in America for foundational Black Americans, it's an ethnicity. So you can take your yap off my page, because at the end of the day, over here, it's Black American pride. Black American. So don't cosplay Black American unless you have a parent who's actually Black American, because the only parent that you spoke on was your mother, and you said that she was an immigrant. So I don't know what your father is. Maybe you're half Black American, but let's not get it twisted. My post is about seeking reparations, not about immigration.
About the myth that immigrants built America, that immigrants built New York City, and that everyone that is in America is an immigrant, because it's not true.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
That eliminates the story of those formerly enslaved people and products of that enslavement like myself. There's been a concerted effort to eliminate Black Americans from the conversation of their impact and importance in the way that this country was built and developed, but with free labor from my ancestors. I'm really glad that Zoran Mamdani is the mayor of New York City. I did my part to campaign for him and boost his messaging, and the fact that I thought he would make a good mayor on this page and very loudly on social media. But that doesn't abscond him from critique. Black Americans versus immigrants, and how these two aren't the same, and how it is imperative that we understand the difference when talking about the development of this nation and what that means for history and what that means for our present and our future. New York was not a city built solely by immigrants. New York was a city founded by European settlers and developed initially by the work of enslaved Black people. In the early days of New York City, Black people cleared the land, built roads, built the initial buildings, built Wall Street, built the first city hall. They built the first city ports. And Black people were vital to the success of the early days of New York City, working in various arenas such as artisans, domestic servants. Black people are pivotal to the development of this nation, full stop. And without Black Americans, no immigrant would be allowed to come here, especially no immigrant who was Black, brown, or any of the above. So when you have immigrants who are able to come to America, and they came in waves in New York. So New York was developed by immigrants as well, and immigration as well, but those waves were allowed by the development and work of Black Americans. So you have a group of people who built the country, were enslaved in this country for centuries before any immigrants came. And those immigrants are allowed to do things and being propped up over in spite of Black Americans. So when you have immigrants that come here and they're able to succeed, they're not coming with the weight or baggage of being the product of slavery here. They then turn around and look down on Black Americans or say, why can't you do what we did? Or Black Americans are lazy, but you do not understand what it means to be Black American in America. And Zoran, I've seen your team. I don't think I've seen any Black people on your team. And I hope you get someone who's Black from New York, and hopefully a Black woman, to make sure you are touching every part of the city. And that includes Black Americans who are foundational to that city, not just all the immigrant populations. Even though we all live amongst each other and New York is New York because of the diversity, there needs to be an effort to ensure that we are not eliminating Black Americans from the conversation, because without Black Americans, they would not be in America, and they would definitely not be in New York City. Congratulations once again on winning the race. I think you're going to be a phenomenal mayor. I just think this is something you need to think about, and it's something that needed to be addressed and something that's brought to your attention.
I made a video a couple of days ago talking about the two most racist things I heard in high school when I first moved here. But I just want to say there's nothing more racist than Africans towards African Americans. First of all, Africans think they are like better in a lot of ways. It's not me. I just know some Africans, some like pure Africans that were born there and spent so many years in Africa. And the stuff they be saying behind African Americans are crazy. Making fun of their culture, making fun of the way they dress. I don't even think I can say some of the things.
Yes, you said you read an article that they shipped about 2.5 million Native American slaves out of America in the 1600s. But pay attention to the word switch. You notice how they use the term Native American as a social veil to cover up who they truly was talking about? As a matter of fact, welcome me real quick. But before I go any further, TikTok, this is only for entertainment purposes and educational purposes only. Do your own research and use your own discernment. Anything you take from this video is at your own risk. That is what we call the reverse slave trade. And the truth is, they weren't talking about the so-called modern-day Native Americans. They were talking about our melanated, copper-colored indigenous ancestors, the original people of this land. So when they say 2.5 million Native Americans were enslaved in the 1600s and then shipped outwards, they're really confirming that Black indigenous Americans were already here on this land and became prisoners of war and were enslaved on this very land and then shipped outwards. They're not gonna just outright and say it, but just keep walking with me. Because have you ever noticed that there's no Native American slaves in the history books? Only us? Notice how they only show us in chains? While photographs of enslaved Native Americans are virtually non-existent, there are some artistic representations and historical records that provide visual insights. They didn't import 12.5 million of us, they exported us to the Caribbean, to Europe, to Africa, and so forth. They're halfway telling the truth, just wrapped up in another name. You realize they're using the term Native American to hide who they truly was talking about. It's called the law of hidden disclosure. And this may go over some of your heads, but I'm gonna speak from the esoteric standpoint real quick. They're bound by cosmic law. They can deceive, but the truth must always be revealed somewhere. Meaning, the truth must always be revealed, but it can be buried, coded, and renamed in ways most wouldn't even notice. Keep walking with me. So they'll hide the truth in languages, loopholes, and in legal terms such as Negro, mulatto, colored, freeman, free persons of color. They'll say Native Americans were enslaved. They can't show any of these enslaved Native Americans. They'll say black people were brought here by the millions. They can't show any of these slave ships. Because under universal law, lies cannot stand unless the truth is made accessible to the awake. Pay attention. So they hide the truth in plain sight, in government and state archive records, in old maps, and census records. So they told you the truth, but just not in the way you was trained to see it. Let me show y'all something real quick. This is coming straight from archive.org. There were about 1 million people in North America when Columbus arrived in 1492. Columbus thought he was in India. He called the people with dark skin Indians. This was a mistake, but the name Indian stuck. That's why our ancestors referred to themselves as American Indian, not Native American. They are not the same. Both terms refer to two different groups of people. The American Indian referred to our dark-skinned, melanated ancestors. Let's keep going. Now pay attention to the wordplay in this archive. Let's go down here to the bottom. The people who came after Columbus from Europe did not understand the first or Native Americans. Notice how they put quotation marks over the native part? You see how they casually switch back to the lie? And then put quotation marks over the native part as to say, well, not really native, not really the original. They started off with the truth. Columbus met dark-skinned Indians and then covered it with a lie and literally left a breadcrumb at the same time. They casually injected the social construct Native American with quotation marks around it to collapse in the original people, the dark-skinned ones, as if they was talking about the same people. That's how they hid the lie inside the truth. That's the law of hidden disclosure in action. Let's keep going. Many of them thought the Indians were savages. They were afraid of them. For the next 400 years, they fought with each other. They fought about who owned the land and how to use it. How many years were the so-called African American in slavery? 400 years of slavery, right? The archive records said they fought with the dark-skinned Indians for 400 years. That's not just some random number. That number exactly mirrors the 400 years of slavery narrative taught about us Black Americans. So the question becomes, who exactly were they fighting for 400 years? Once again, universal law. Lies cannot stand unless the truth is made accessible to the awake. And most of us are awake and it's spreading like wildfire. And for those who are still asleep, they'll say it's a trend. This is no trend. It's a resonance for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. And this is why I always say, pay attention. Because when you're doing your own research, you gotta read between the lines because the truth will be hiding.
Any Black immigrants that are in America, my word of advice to you would be to actually research the things that Black Americans did in this country that allowed African immigrants, Caribbean immigrants, Asian immigrants, Arab immigrants, the list goes on. Because without the strides and the fights and the deaths that came with being Black American and the fight that we had here, no one would be allowed in this country. Over the last 2 days, I've seen 2 videos of 2 different women talking about Black liberation movements in America versus those in the world, and arguing whether Black liberation movements were done in isolation in America as something that came out of the squeeze and grip of white supremacy versus those that were in solidarity with America around the world. And the argument, that's not even what I'm going to talk about. There's caveats to that conversation which lend itself to the continuation of the diaspora wars that we have online. And I think it's time that we actually start trying to approach conversations about Black identity, Black heritage, and Black history with nuance. One girl is Nigerian American, and she says this line that kind of set the tone for the whole conversation to go awry.
And I went through the American public school education system, which is why I have intimate knowledge of how African American history being taught in the US, much like American history being taught in the US, has a very specific isolationist lens.
Which you're factually not. You are a product of immigrants that emigrated to America in the 60s or 70s, because prior to the 60s, if you were Black in America, you were a descendant of slaves. So to say that you, a first generation Nigerian, you cannot go online and tell Black people that you know more about their history than they do. In many instances, what I find is that those descendants of immigrants who immigrated to America in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they're not aware of the actual historical context and lens that African Americans experienced life in America through. So saying that you have intimate knowledge of the African American history that lends itself to your expertise is factually wrong. Me, personally, on my mom's side of my family, my grandmother picked cotton. My great grandmother was a slave. How my uncles had to fight in the war in Vietnam, but they had no rights at home. My father and mother integrated a school. This is my father and mother. I'm not talking about some antiquated history that happened 200 years ago. And I think I'm uniquely capable of talking about this subject. I just spent the past week with my Haitian family, not my American family. And not speaking English, hearing the way that, we talk about history and hearing the way we talk about each other. Family is extremely, extremely, extremely educated on Pan-Africanism, the African movements, yada, yada, yada. Born in Haiti, grew up in America. I think I've always been raised to understand the different aspects of the diaspora. With that being said, there's also a tendency of African Americans to center ourselves in every single thing. Now, warranted, this conversation, this girl was talking about African Americans, but in the way that we speak about Blackness and the way that we speak about each other, because of the grip that white supremacy has on us specifically in this country, we feel the need to bark at every conversation because we have to be heard, because continuously, even in the year 2024, we are not heard and we're not believed and we're made to feel crazy because history doesn't teach our reality, and then America gaslights us. All I will say is, for any Black immigrants that are in America, my word of advice to you would be to actually research the movements, the issues, the historical context, and the things that Black Americans did in this country that allowed African immigrants, Caribbean immigrants, Asian immigrants, Arab immigrants, the list goes on. Because without the strides and the fights and the deaths and all the triage that came with being Black American and the fight that we had here, no one would be allowed in this country. And I think that is the greater aspect of that conversation that is being ignored and pushed aside. Because if you're going to be an immigrant in this country that is allowed to be here off the backs of the people who are still oppressed in this country, you have to acknowledge that when you're having a conversation.
So there's something I want to say around the topic of Black Americans and then immigrants. I'm seeing lots of videos from Black Americans urging Zoran Mamdani, new mayor of New York, soon to be, to not forget about Black Americans, because in his speech, and this is also something I noticed, he did talk about all of a bunch of the immigrant communities in New York and how they built New York. And he completely neglected Black Americans. I'm not from New York, I'm from Massachusetts, but even here and all over the country, I have seen how local government always deprioritizes Black Americans specifically. Now, I don't think electing Zoran Mamdani was a mistake. I really like him, even though I will not benefit from his policies. I'm very happy he won, and I hope more people like him go up to become leaders in this country. But I also urge them not to forget or deprioritize Black Americans. The Black American experience is different from the immigrant experience, even if it's a Black immigrant. Two different experiences. And on a statistical level, so this is data, this is not me making it up, Black Americans are deprioritized below immigrants. And that's not immigrants' fault. That is literally just how the system works. And because of that, I see so much division when it comes to Black Americans and immigrants, because it's hard to look past someone who's new to this country getting certain benefits or policies or programs that you have either needed or waited for and still have yet to get, even though you've been here your whole life. It's hard for them to look past that and see that what's really the issue is the system. And then on the flip side, what I see, and again, this is not me saying all Black Americans, all immigrants, but on the flip side, what I'll see are immigrants will come to this country and they will rise above the odds, which is amazing. But then they'll look back at Black Americans and say, well, if I did it, why can't you? Are you just lazy? And then that whole dynamic just pits Black Americans and immigrants against each other, which I hate. People need to remember that because of chattel slavery, it was Black Americans who were stolen from their own land and brought here. We laid the foundation. We laid the foundation for you to come here and then build on top of that. So yes, saying immigrants built this country is not wrong, but completely ignoring that Black Americans laid the foundation for them and then also built alongside them, that's what the message should have been. I really hope, because I saw his team, Zoran Mamdani's transition team, and I know it's all women, but I don't think I saw any Black Americans specifically on there. I do hope that he gets someone on his team who is a Black American, I would say a Black American woman, who can advise him on how to approach and help our community. Even though, again, I'm not from New York. I'm just saying, like, the community in New York. Because it's just different. It is different from the immigrant experience. And I hope all leaders who are coming up in this country also just remember that.
Okay, I need all of my Black Americans to really tap in, because I have something that is really going to shake the whole city up. Like, really talking about take the diaspora wars to a whole nother level. Me, a 32, almost 33-year-old Southern Black American gal, like, it does not get no more Southern Black and American than this, has been in a relationship with her significant other who is East African for the last 4 years, right? Now, he cook his dishes, I cook my dishes. Yesterday, I cooked collard greens, right? I had my smoked turkey necks, I had my onions, and my seasoned water that I had boiling for a full hour as I prepared and washed the collard greens as we usually do. After getting a full hour of, boiling and getting the stock just right, I add my greens to the pot so that we can begin to cook down the collard greens as we usually do. As I'm cooking, my man is like, how are you cooking the greens? I said, I'm cooking collard greens how Black Americans cook collard greens. Now, for reference, if I haven't already mentioned, my man is East African. He prefers sauteed greens. Perfectly fine, they're good like that. But yesterday I wanted collard greens, and you do not saute collard greens the way that I want my collard greens, right? So hours go by, right? Mind you, this is still day one of the pot, and like the collard greens get good day two. Hours go by and I catch him putting the food up. As I get to the tail end of him putting the food up, I am watching him from afar, and I didn't catch him in time, right? He literally is dumping all of the juice out of my collard greens. Like, okay. This was yesterday. I'm still like just shook to shit, because This man dumped the juice out of my collard greens. Okay.
Enough is enough. Enough is literally enough. Will I not support what that guy said? I will support what he said 100%. Yes. If your country was that good enough, if your country was that conducive, if your country was that comfortable, if your country was that perfect, you will not be running to another man's country for greener pasture. Why leaving your country, leaving your family, leaving every single thing behind just because you want to hustle? And when you get to the same country that you're supposed to hustle, you start throwing shades. You start throwing shades. You start making it look like Black Americans never deserve you. Remember, the main reason why you left your country is because what you can literally achieve in America, you can achieve it in your country. Let me say that again. The main reason why a lot of immigrants are leaving their country, it is because what they can achieve in America, they can achieve it in their own country. Now, let me break it down for a lot of people to understand. When you make money in dollars, and then you bring it all the way from US to Nigeria and exchange it, it's going to come up something reasonable. Am I wrong or right? $1,000 in the US is 1 point something million naira in the naira currency. I'm using Nigeria now if the person residing there is. You see, so why a lot of them are suffering there, a lot of them are doing a lot of jobs to make sure they meet up, they are building something reasonably. In fact, most of these diasporas you see in the US or in any other country has literally built their home, like a complete home furnished apartment in their own home country. Now, that is the question that I keep entering my head and I keep asking. If you check in all of this video I've been doing about this diaspora one, the rest of that. For this kind of country that I'm gaining so much, and the main reason why I am gaining so much is the fact that Black Americans made this opportunity available. Why can't you literally respect the people that built the country? Because the first problem we always have is the disrespect. The disrespect, the hatred, the envy, permits me to also add the jealousy. You are jealous of people that gave you the opportunities for you to explore. Why Black Americans will work out their acts to get a mortgage, blah, 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 pay for the mortgage gradually. You have automatically built a house in your country. You still don't want to respect them. You still want them to be respecting you. You still want them to see you as God. You still want them to honor you. If Black Americans are saying enough is enough for the disrespect, I 100% support. Anything you want to say, if you're in Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, feel free to say anything you want to say in the comment section. But you can't change the fact that the truth remains the truth. You can't change the fact that Black Americans built America. You can't change the fact that you can get deported. Black Americans will not get deported. You can't change the fact that no matter how hard you're trying to play, you are still under Black Americans. I just hope a lot of you immigrants learn fast, because in 2026, it's going to be hotter than you think. Because gone are those days where a lot of Black Americans are quiet. So if you're watching this video and you're an immigrant in the US, you have to keep short, respect yourself, and respect boundaries. You have to learn how to manage, how to respect the people that put in the work, the hard work to build America. Let me know what you think about this video, guys. Credit belongs to the original creator of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do it, subscribe, like this video, drop in your comments. And lastly, do not forget to share for every other person to get this good news. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, ado like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.